Okay, let's start to build the front end of the car. Steel chassis comes with the team kit. Again, put it the right side down when you start. So the beveled side down. You need 0.5 millimeter washers. They come with the kit and they go in these locations. So these 4 spots. So I'm going to put these together one at a time. If you are still running the stock chassis, the aluminum chassis, you will not put these washers in. Again, don't tighten them down all the way. Makes it much harder to assemble. All right, same thing that I've been doing all along. Just like putting screws in an engine head, I like to tighten them in sequence like this. So just until they touch, and then I go around the car and go a little tighter. And then I go full snug. Okay. All right. Let's put the front bit on. You need these 3 pieces. The front piece, I believe, doesn't matter, top or bottom. Oh no, it does. It sticks out the bottom. So one is shorter than the other. So make sure you don't mount this so that the other way I had it, this is sticking out the bottom. You don't want that. So you want the tall part to the top. And some blingy screws here. I can go with a 5 millimeter there. Those are 6s. These 2 you can tighten down together. So again, just like tighten screws on an engine head, I just kind of go back and forth, and then the solid, then the last one push. Okay. These I have seen bend. I've bent one, and in a really stupid hard crash. So if you hit things, buy an extra set of these. I've clipped the little nubbin off of one and bent it at the same time. So if you're setting your ride height, after you've run the car for a while, and you just can't, something seems off, the car seems wrong, this is probably the culprit. Carry an extra set of these with you and try not to hit things so hard. So just a point of advice, get another set of these and carry them with you. I also don't short this screw then. I use a 6 millimeter so that I'm all the way through it, so that I have as much holding that as I can. So don't tighten this down yet, just finger tight, because you want to align it with the graphite plate. One other thing that I do I like to mark my plates. It looks like Josh might have done it already. Wow. I think he may have, which is genius, but I'll show you what I normally do anyways. I take a paint pen, and I like to be able to see what they are, so I fill it in with a paint pen, and then I sort of wipe it back off the top. And then I've got a nice marked 1.5 plate. Yeah. So now I can just look at the car and not have to struggle really hard to see what it is. So see, keep those two loose so you can line all this up. And then the screws here will actually do further alignment because they have a lip that sits down in the graphite as well. And on the 12 scale with foam tires, I don't believe we need any washers underneath it. In fact, I don't think the kit came with it, so I don't think there's any, it doesn't call for any of that to happen. Nope, just mount it straight up like that. I'm not going to tighten this down yet. I'm just finger tight. Because I want to tighten all of these as an entity together. Okay, let's tighten them. So I'm going to do the same thing, just like I'm tightening an engine head. I'm just going snug, and then I'm going to go around the car and go tight. So I'm going to do the center one first. And then I'm just going to do one more, make sure they feel right. They feel really good. Okay. The next is the servo piece. We'll put this on for now, and then I'll do the servo a little later. This needs a screw from the bottom. This has it takes a nut driver, which I didn't get out, so excuse me while I grab that. So I put the nut part up. I do the bottom of this first because I want the bottom to stay snug, because we're gonna, if you ever have to take this out and take the plate out and move the servo around, you want the tops to come loose versus the bottoms. That's too short. I think the other one's too short too. I don't want to chance that. I want to snug it. Oh, that one's pretty good. That one's a 6. I accidentally grabbed a 5mm, not a 6. Yep. All right, pardon me while I grab the other wrench. So nut side up so that your nut driver fits right on there and you can get this one really snug. I know I'm jumping around the instructions a little bit, but that's okay. This I'm not going to tighten because I know I'm going to have to take these back off anyways in a little bit. I didn't order enough of the new blingy screws that I did on, the new low profile purple ones. I have a couple here. But I forgot to order these, so the car may get these very soon. But for now, they're getting the other ones. So this, I'm not going to tighten these down yet. We'll put the servo in later, but we'll just sort of snug them to leave them there. The bumper. The kit shows you to put the bumper just right on this plate. I think I like to lower it. I like the bumper to sit a little bit lower. because let's put weight as low as we can. I don't put it all the way down even with the chassis. I put it up a little bit because these can flex, and when they flex, you don't want them to drag the track. But I like them to be, you know, a millimeter or half a millimeter above the chassis. So I'm gonna put some washers in there. I think a millimeter. And then I don't know if I grabbed long enough screws for that. Let's see. That'll work. No, I want them to be a little bit taller. So I'm out of blingy ones for that, so I'm gonna put a little taller one in for now. This one's too tall. Yeah, that one's way too tall. There we go. I might have to order some more of the pretty ones. $1mm washer and purple lock nut on the top. Same concept. I'm going to tighten them kind of snug and then alternate sides. I don't know why, just because I was taught to do that. Yeah, see how adding that 1mm of washers there just lowers the bumper down a little bit. So it still sits above the chassis, so it's not going to drag, but it's just putting the weight as low as you can. In fact, I might even add more later, but that's good for now. Okay. Let's put on some body posts. I like to use a little bit longer screw in the front body posts because of the impact area and what the bumper's doing. So I like to use as long of a screw as I can in that. I actually don't remember what the ride height is, what's needed. Oh, this is interesting. My bumper isn't fully... Wait, has the bumper changed? It looks like they've changed it, where this sits, where the screws go through here. It used to just totally slide on, so that's a nice improvement, that there's just a hole there, and these mount on top of it. Maybe if I would have read the instructions, it would have shown me that. But this actually sits down here first, and this traps it, versus it used to just float. And you know, if sometimes you hit the wall and it could float up. I actually like this new version better. Nice improvement that snuck in there. Nope, not tight yet. Nice, I like that much better. It's trapped now, it can't walk its way up the body post. Genius. Okay. I actually don't know what my body post height is supposed to be. It's been a while since I've run 17.5, so I'm gonna put it in the second hole. We'll adjust it once I get the body painted or mounted up here. There is something interesting about these caps here, and if you put these on, and if you just put them on and didn't notice, there's actually different heights in here, and they're marked on the top, and the little dot is the furthest in. No, sorry. The medium dot is the furthest in. The little dot is second furthest in. And the wide dot is the shortest. So that's helpful to set your ride height, to be able to play with those things. I don't know exactly what I need, so I'm going to do the deepest. And if you can, once they're on, you can sort of look at it and look at where it aligns with the hole and see. I'll put this one on opposite so you can see it if you haven't noticed these yet. I didn't notice them at first. I was like, why is my body not lining up? Okay, so I want the highest. So the highest is the fat one. So if you look at how much distance I have between the top of that and that third hole there, you can see the whole thing. If I flip it to this side, this is actually raised up, so it's covering that third hole. So these are really helpful. Make it really super easy. Instead of having to shim things, you just turn these around. So I'm going to put it on the lowest. No, the lowest? That's the lowest. So now it lines up the same both sides. But pay attention to that, because first time I built one of these cars, I was like, what do I do with my body post here? And it's really that thing has this little turnstile thing that allows you to adjust up and down. It's really genius design. You know, any other car that you're running, you want to buy those and maybe put it on whatever brand you're running. And I actually don't remember on the rear body post. It says go to the outside hole, most downforce. I don't normally, on my GTR, I run longer screws back here, just because the car's so much bigger and traction rolls more often than a 12 scale. So, you know, the impacts are bigger. So I like a longer one here. And this, 12 scale, I think I'm going to be fine. I don't tend to do a lot of side slapping tank slappers on a 12 scale car. They're usually pretty stuck down. So, as I say that and it's on video, I'll probably regret it, because I'll go to my first race and it'll happen to me in the main. But plus it's weight up high, so if I can get away with a shorter screw there, that's what I'm going to do. If I don't need this body post to be this tall, I'm going to chop the top of it off. Again, trying to get weight as low as possible wins in 12th scale on black carpet. I'm going to guess 3rd hole up maybe. And then I'll figure that out once I get the body adjusted and mounted. Start with the lowest again. So the medium hole is the lowest. What did I do? 2nd hole or 3rd hole? 3rd hole. I should mark these with the paint pen, just to make it easier to see the dots. You know, because when you're at the track, you want to make a quick change. You could just doop, or at least mark once at a hole, something. So maybe I'll come back and do that later. Okay, that is the front of the chassis. Next video I will do will be the kingpins, which need a little bit of extra work. So we'll do that in the next video.